Hello, dear sister. Well, just by investing in the Empowered Birth reading already tells me that you are going to have an empowered birth. There, the end. That's all you need to know. No, just kidding. But really, just your intention out there. I'm going to have an empowered birth. The intention alone, the energy you're sending out, is already bringing everything you need to you to have an empowered birth. Um, the first thing you need to know is just to listen to your baby and listen to your gut or your instinct or your intuition, whatever you want to call it, your intuition right now. The voice of your baby and the voice of your intuition are one and the same. They've melded here together. Um, that's why people say, how can you tell? How can you tell when you're talking to the spirit baby realm, or how can you tell when you're talking to this? Well, it might sound the same, but it always comes from a place of love, and it also comes from where your focus is. So right now your focus is on your baby. So the spirit baby um, voice has melded with your intuition. So listen to that strong voice inside you. It might be a soft voice, but it's a strong voice, because that will have information for you. That will have information for you about your birth. And if you want an empowered birth, the things you need will come to you. I've said this before, but part of my story is my pre-birth story is that my son Finn told me about unassisted home birth. And as I've mentioned before, this is something I would never have thought of on my own ever. I was all give me the epidural, I'm nobody's hero sort of thing. So to go from that thinking to unassisted home birth really was a journey. It was a journey. It took 2 miscarriages on my part, which are very spiritually enhancing, and then a lot of trust on my part to get to that point. I'm not telling you that's what you need to do. I'm just saying your baby's going to tell you what you need to do. And along these lines, and this is some new information that I just got this morning, I always say that my son told me how he wanted to be born. But the spirit baby realm wants us to know they're not as attached to the birth experience as we are. Especially the children coming in now who are very, I want to say, self-possessed, very strong in their character and very strong in their spirit. They don't need the birth to be a certain way. They will guide us to the certain birth experience that is best for us. So my little revelation this morning was that, oh, so my son told me to have unassisted home birth because that was the best way for me to have birth, not necessarily the best way for him to have birth, because be birthed, because he's not as attached to it as I was. So I wanted an empowered birth. And for me, I needed to be totally alone. I needed to be totally alone to do that. And people say to me, oh my God, you're so strong. You're my hero. I could never do that. But you know what I think? I think the people that go into the hospital and have an empowered birth are the strong people. I needed to be alone so I wouldn't be influenced by anybody else, even my husband's energy. I had to kick him out. I'm like, all right, you leave. I got to do this on my own. I would always call him in as the baby was descending. So he's always been there for the actual birth. But the labor, I needed to be alone so I could be in my own energy. And for me, that was how I felt safe. I give kudos to, I mean, what I did was awesome, but I also have to give kudos to people who have empowered births in the hospital and are able to preserve their energy while there's all these other influences around. Those are the people that wow me, like, wow, oh, look what you did, and you didn't let anyone influence you. So I just wanted to put that out there. Empowered birth can look many different ways. They can look many different ways. And I have to say, even though I had 3 natural births, I do somehow feel that the natural birth community may be doing women a slight disservice saying that's the only way you have to do it. You have to do it for these reasons. If you don't, your baby's getting off to the wrong start. Your breastfeeding will get off to the wrong start. If you don't do it this way, you're going to get off to the wrong start. I do see that a lot, and frankly, I felt that when I was researching unassisted home birth from my first pregnancy. I read a lot, and all the material was like, you can't do this, or this is going to happen. You can't do this. So it's, even though the natural birth community is fantastic, and I mean, I would never trade anything, my births for anything. There's also still a little fear based in that, like, if you don't have a natural birth, this is going to happen. And what we need to do is get rid of that fear totally. Whether it's on the fear of the hospital people or the fear of the natural home birth community, what we need to do, it's two sides of the same coin, it's still fear. What we need to do to really, really find our empowerment when it comes to birth is to get rid of the fear, period. And when we do that, we eliminate the birth judginess. Oh God, I was so judgy after my first birth, and I apologize for that now. So judgy of anyone who might have had, especially a scheduled C-section, so judgy. We cannot be judgy of anyone else's birth experience. So we need to know anyone can have an empowered birth experience. You can have an empowered C-section. You can have an empowered hospital birth. We just want you empowered no matter what. No matter what. No matter what. And I really want to get that across. A woman needs to have birth where she feels the safest. So listen to your gut, listen to your baby, decide where you are going to feel the safest. And then through these other steps that we're going to talk about, you will find a way to be empowered in your own energy. And when you have that, everything will fall into place for you, whether it's the right doctors, the right midwives, the right anesthesiologists, whatever. The right people will come, and you can have a gorgeous, gorgeous birth no matter what, no matter where. We just got to get rid of the judgment and get rid of the fear. And I really strongly want to put an exclamation point on that. Get rid of the judgment, get rid of the fear. Because that doesn't exist in the spirit baby realm. The spirit babies aren't saying, Jesus, Mom, you had to have a C-section? Come on! They're not doing that. And they're not afraid either. They're not afraid, especially these wonderful babies coming in. They're not afraid of anything. They're not afraid of anything. It doesn't matter. There's no attachment. So let's let that go. Let's let that go. And know that no matter what you choose, you can be empowered. Okay. Have I gotten that point across? It's very important. Very important. So, a birth plan. It is good to have a birth plan because it's actually more groundwork, more anchoring of your intention. And if you read your birth plan often, it also becomes an affirmation. Now, I did write a birth plan for my first birth. I don't know if I did for my other two. I don't think I did. The thing about the birth plan, and this is what's important to the spirit baby realm too, is not to focus so much on the specifics. I think for my first birth, I wrote a birth plan / affirmations, and there was like 24 sentences. And 21 of them happened. The 3 that didn't happen were all related to time. So we have to let go of time. When it comes to our birth plan, we can't predict how long it's going to take. The time doesn't matter in the spirit baby realm either. So let go of how long you want your labor to be, or, just let go of that. And then also let go of the little mundane details. What you really need to focus on when you're coming up with a birth plan, whether it's just for you or your doctor, midwife, whatever. Focus on the feelings and the outcome. If you want to get specific, because if you do have people involved, you might want to get specific and say, nobody tell me what the gender of the baby is, or I'm the one who's to hold the baby. Those sorts of specifics, those are important. So, if no one talks, have that. But then also for yourself, in your birth plan, focus on the feelings you want to feel. I want to feel empowered. I want to feel bliss. I want to feel orgasmic It can happen. I haven't had an orgasmic birth. I don't know if I will. I think I'm done. But I heard that it is fantastic. Mine have been peak beautiful experiences. I can't say they've been orgasmic. Maybe when they come out and just the relief. But anyway, it is possible. It's absolutely possible. So focus on the feelings you want to feel and knowing that you can get through it. And then focus on the outcomes, the healthy baby, and those sorts of things. One of the things I wanted was to know that my baby was healthy right away. And I wanted him to smile at me. And he cried just for a second, my first baby, when he came out. And I'm like, oh, good. Now I know he's healthy and he's alive. And then he smiled. I mean, you can really get what you want with these birth plan affirmations. So work on that, but not so much the specifics, just like the feelings and the outcomes for yourself. Save the specifics for whomever will be helping you, if you have somebody helping you. So yeah, and then another thing that I tell people, which is very, very powerful, and I can't tell people to do this enough because I have done this for all my births, and I do find it to be incredibly powerful, is to take a moment and write down all your fears. So everything you're afraid of, everything. Because, if you don't address it, you're just going to repress it and it's going to come up at the most inopportune times. So you have to face your fears. Face your fears. Think of what they are, write them down. Keep the list for a while and add to it as they come up. But address those fears, address them. On another piece of paper, separately, write your beliefs, what you want to have happen, like the affirmations I just said. And you're doing a rewriting here. You're doing some alchemy. You're turning your fears into something, best possible scenarios. So when you're done with your fear list, however long it takes you to write it, whether you add to it every now and then, shortly before the birth, burn your fear list. Release those fears. And every day up until the birth, read your affirmations, read your best possible scenarios. Because then you are paving the way. You're paving the way for this beautiful, empowered birth. Do be clear. Do be clear on the kind of birth you want. Don't be all fuzzy. If you're committed to a home birth, you know what? Yes, I want a home birth. If you're committed to an empowered hospital birth, you just have a crystal clear intention. I'm not saying an attachment, but an intention. There is a difference. An empowered birth, no matter what. An empowered birth, no matter what, and then plan for it. And let me just look at my notes. Oh yes, surround yourself, of course, with empowered birth stories, with inspiring stories. You don't want to hear the shit. You don't need to hear it. You're very very sensitive right now as you're preparing for birth, you're pregnant. You don't need to hear other people's bad stories. So just tell them, have some boundaries here. Say, I am just listening to inspiring stories. Thank you for honoring that. Just be true to yourself. And it's the same thing with gentle surroundings. You need to be surrounding yourself with gentle people, gentle environments, empowering stories, empowering people who are going to support you and not drag you down. Speaking of which, another way to prepare for your empowered birth is to, as I always say, build your vibration, raise your vibration. Love yourself, trust yourself, let go of the drama, let go of any victimhood, let go of anything. Let go of your story and just know that you're powerful, that you're creative, that you can do whatever you want to do. And the universe will conspire to bring you your heart's desires. When I was preparing for my unassisted home birth, I was very clear that's what I wanted to do. It made my heart sing. It made my heart sing. And it's funny, my husband and I got in so many fights. And we never fought. We never fought before, but this was us finding a new way of doing something that not many people understood or believed in, or they thought you were crazy. So I had to be very strong in myself despite all these fights, and he came around beautifully, beautifully, and of course he would never want to do it any different. You might have to stand your ground. Stand your ground. And anyone who's going to go against you, find a way to quietly hear them while just being strong within yourself and say, you don't have to respect my choices, but I ask, no, you don't have to accept my choices. I do ask you respect them. You know, bottom line, whatever, that's it. Just boundaries, believing in yourself. Raise your vibration by not buying into or the push pull that might be happening if someone is questioning your birth choices. Just don't have any buttons. Just they're a dud. Just whatever their fears are, it has to do with them and not you. So realize that and just know, okay, that's their experience of it. That's their interpretation. It's not mine. Don't borrow anyone else's story. You know, and that can be tricky, and that's why you want to just maybe not hear the negative stuff right now, because when you're in a vulnerable pregnant state, it can be easy to buy into the negativity, but it's their story. It's not your story. It's not your story. So anyway, the self-love, the self-respect, the self-trust, trusting yourself, trusting your gut, and trusting that your baby knows what to do. Your baby and your body know exactly what to do here. Even if you've had previous births that didn't happen the way they wanted to, your body still has that wisdom in it. It still has that wisdom in it from lifetimes of giving birth before. So tap into that wisdom. Your body knows exactly what to do. So to sum up, you have already chosen your empowered birth by investing in this video. So your intention is already out there. Listen to your baby and your intuition. It will steer you the right way, even if it's ways you never even thought of before. And as you will know it's the right way because it just feels right. It feels right. So listen to your body and your baby first and foremost. Don't listen to anybody that tells you to be afraid. Don't listen to anybody that tells you you can't do it the way you want to do it. Don't listen to anything that gives you fear or judgment, even if that is the natural, wonderful, beautiful birth community. I love it because it's fantastic and it is a wonderful way to give birth, but it's not the only empowered way to give birth. And that is so important for us to address. So let go of birth judgment, birth fear. Don't listen to anyone who's telling you you have to do it this way. Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. Maybe you're a pathfinder or a way shower. Maybe you're going to do something entirely new. Anyway, just listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. Address your fears, release your fears, and focus on your affirmations, your validations. And then another thing that I did to, and I did this for all my births in some way, was a meditation. You know, from my first baby, I did have all this extra time. I didn't have any children, so I could sit down and I could meditate. And that is why I made the Beautiful Birth CD. That was based on the meditations I did with my first baby. For my second and third babies, I couldn't sit down and meditate often, but I could go for walks in the woods and, you know, the mindless stuff. Go be out in the woods. Do whatever you need to do that is meditative for you. It doesn't have to be but it has to be something that brings you peace. And that is a very easy and strong, powerful way to connect with your baby and your intuition. I got so much guidance walking in the woods through all my pregnancies about the birth and from nature. You know, I was given signs and wonderful just little symbols of, you know, you'll have a good birth, blah, blah, blah. So just be out in nature. And your baby is showing you signs all the time. This is the kind of birth you have. We can do this, Mom. We can do this. You know, I was maybe this will be significant to you. Maybe you find it will be. But when I was walking in the woods one time, I was thinking about the birth of my first son and thinking, oh, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? And then this big owl swooped down in the daylight and landed on this branch in front of me. And we just stared at each other, and I'm like, oh my God. And then as I kept walking, the owl swooped from branch to branch following me. And then I looked up owl when I got home, and among the many wonderful things that owl means, it also means that if it's seen or heard near a pregnant woman, it means she will have an easy, safe birth. That was exactly what I needed to hear then. So your baby is sending you signs like that. Keep an eye out. If it's not an owl, it'll be something else. Signs to build your confidence for this birth. Um, I think there was one other thing I wanted to say. Oh, maybe it wasn't important. But the signs, the symbols, yes, your baby is showing you the way. Your way will be highlighted. Your way will be highlighted. And you will have an empowered birth. And so it is. So please email me your birth story because I want to hear all about it. And you can do it. You got this. You got this. All right? I love you.